Welcome back to the channel, folks. This year has been a wild year in real estate. Lots of things have gone through. Prices have been changing. Market styles have been changing. But what should we expect for 2025? I'm going to go over a few videos I found over the week. Just some real estate topics and just give you my perspective. I'm a real estate agent in the DFW Metroplex. So if you are renting, buying, trying to move to this area, I just want more information. I can even help out investors if that's your thing. Feel free to shoot me a call or text. My contact information will be down below in the description. But this is moving to Texas. So lots is going on. Let's get right into the videos. And yeah, see what these people have to say.
The 30-year fixed rate now at 6.85%. U.S. mortgage rates climbing to the highest level in 5 months. The 30-year fixed rate now at 6.85% as of yesterday. This is a new report shows that home insurance and property tax payments make up more than half of monthly mortgage payments for 9% of American single-family homes.
Yeah, this is one of the key reasons why the market is what it is. I mean, it's just simply put, if you're buying a home at 6%, you're basically going to be paying double what majority of the country is paying. I think 60 to 70% of people are in a mortgage under 3%. Don't quote me on that, but I know it's around there. So yeah, and the way things are looking, we really don't know how rate cuts are going to affect it. They recently did rate cuts about 3 weeks ago, I want to say 2 weeks ago, and mortgage rates went up. So if you're waiting for rates to go down, I really don't think that is the wisest idea. And in the DFW market right now, there is a lot of opportunity for those that are looking really anywhere. Now, certain areas you're still having competition, but there are plenty of areas where you can get most of your closing costs paid for depending on the situation, just because the amount of equity is already in the home and the amount of time that the home has been on the market. Sellers are still they're still wanting their homes moved very quickly.
Bring in global real estate advisor Jenna Stauffer. Jenna, the big question with obviously the Fed moves this year, we have not seen any relief for mortgage rates. What are you hearing and seeing out there?
We haven't seen any relief for mortgage rates, and this is what is so frustrating for so many people that are aspiring to get into the housing market. There was the expectation for sure that rates were going to end the year a lot lower than where they are right now. There was also the expectation at one time that prices were going to be much lower than where they are right now. And with that being said,
I know that she's giving broad data across the entire nation from what it looks like, but there is quite a bit of opportunity in the DFW Metroplex based on the information they just provided. Now, yes, you're going to have to pay more for that mortgage, but I'm telling you, there are deals out there right now. It's not where you have to pay outstanding prices over asking and not get anything in return. It is very advantageous for buyers currently right now. In I would say 65% of areas in the DFW Metroplex, okay?
Cheryl, something that I'm seeing happening is people have lower
and prices have dropped considerably. I mean, and what's going to happen when interest rates drop? If they drop, prices for homes will go up.
Expectations. They really don't expect a lot with the housing market right now in terms of big shifts. So that is one positive thing that I can say is happening in the housing market is you're kind of seeing momentum shift right now, and you're seeing people say, you know what, I'm tired of staying on the sidelines. I'm tired of trying to wait for something to happen that might not happen. I want to make some moves.
So they are going to make a move because I was looking at the data for existing.
Even myself, I even bought this year, which most people would say that it's the wrong time. But I'm telling you, once you're seeing the appraised values and once you're seeing the deals you can get right now, I'm talking closing with really no money down and having your seller still make repairs or drop their price or provide extra concessions. That's the market we're in right now. Like I said, 65% of the market. You know, there's nicer areas that are still having competition.
kind of break down this, because it seems to be, the lawsuit seems to have validity.
Well, this is really scary, number one. And number two, one of the first things I tell buyers before you can go out and shop for a home, you shop around for different lenders. Lenders can offer different programs, they can offer different rates.
Yeah, I wanted to show this part because I mean the before you go buy a home, before you go look at a home, you should reach out to a local lender. When I mean local, their office should be in the city that you want to buy in, or at least, yeah, the city that you want to buy in. Just because they're going to have much more experience as to how it will all work, what's allowed and what's not allowed, certain programs that might benefit you. For example, like for Fort Worth, they were, and they might still be off. They were offering $25,000 towards closing costs, depending on how much money you made. Now, a lender from a different state, they're not going to know that, possibly, right? Not only that, but let's say you go to a home, it is $50,000 under what you thought that you could afford. You're loving it. You want to make an offer. You try to go get your pre-approval. Takes about a day. You know, you can get your pre-approval quicker than that if you have all your document. But let's say it takes about a day. All of a sudden, the home that you wanted is now under contract. There you go. You've lost your opportunity because you really missed out on the one of the most important steps of the home buying process, and that is pre-approval. Because all you need is that pre-approval letter to submit offers, and then during the transaction period, you have a certain amount of days to gain full approval, which your agent and your lender should be able to give you a time frame on. So, key thing here. Listen up, get pre-approval, at least so you know what you can afford and what you can't afford. And in what you can't afford, I mean, don't go at the top. If you're approved for $450, don't shop at $450. Shop at $400, $399, right? You can still find something beautiful. Or in this market, you might be able to get $450 down to $425, $420, depending on the situation.
You can be saving hundreds, thousands of dollars on your payments just from shopping around and finding that right person. So to be steering someone to one company, who is this hurting? It is hurting, again, these aspiring home buyers. It's giving them another added expense that they absolutely do not need in this market.
Okay, before you go, $1 million question. I always ask this of you, but are sellers getting more realistic about where the market is right now?
They are getting more realistic. I'm seeing it happening. Of course, there are still sellers out there that still believe that their home is worth exactly the same it was.
Yeah, what I will say is it's going to depend on the agent, because that's really where they're going to get their pricing from. Okay, there are plenty of homes that are way overpriced still, and you're seeing them sit for 80 plus days, 100, 200 days on the market because there's double the inventory. But you're also seeing some of these same homes, when you go look in the history, homes listed for 1.4, they bought it for 500,000 in 2020. They're still going to walk away with 600, 500 net, even if they put in $150,000 of upgrades. So that's just one small example, but you're still seeing it. Like, I'm seeing homes priced at 350,000 that were bought in 2018 for 175,000, 190,000. These people are going to walk away with 100,000 net after 5 years in real estate. I'm telling you, that is not normal. So get out there, ask what that price looks like. What the asking price is typically is not what is accepted.
2 years ago, and they might be in an area where you've seen that downward pressure on prices. But I think finally what's happened, and this all again goes back to the momentum that's really shifting in the housing market. You're seeing sellers, they want to move their house, okay? They don't want it to just stay on the market. They're also afraid that it could stay on the market for too long. So we finally are starting to see sellers start to adjust.
Well,
Yeah, you really are. And you got to remember how many boomers are going to have to downsize in the next 5 to 10 years. And then imagine all these other rural areas where typically the buyer pool is a bit older. They're going to have to downsize as well. Will they sell their ranch? Will they portion it off into some properties. I'm just telling you, there's a lot of opportunity out there, especially in the DFW Metroplex. All right, let's get to the next video.
To adjust.
Well, it's a whole new year next year. Jenna, stop.
Get ready to lose 30% of your home value. Total number of homes for sale in the U.S. has increased to 1.86 million as of October. We haven't even counted November. This is the highest since 2019, since before the world blew up back in 2020. If you don't understand what that means, inventory is climbing, houses are sitting, price reductions are happening, price discovery. Nobody even knows where it's going to land. Don't forget that credit card debt has hit another record high. We're in territory
Yeah, I mean, like, there are certain areas where you are seeing majority of the homes sitting 120 days. I mean, whole entire areas. I don't want to name these areas, but reach out if you're interested. Maybe there's an opportunity for you, but possibly not, because the area that I'm mentioning, these people in 2020, 2021, they paid astronomical prices in an area that didn't have the infrastructure set. It didn't have really the true value that was being represented by what people were paying for, and you are seeing it now. I can't tell you how many expired, canceled listings I'm seeing, and then you're talking to these people on the phone. You're like, hey, your pricing, I see you're at 335. Was that the lowest you're going to take? Because average prices are around 299, 285 in your area based on what the home is, based on closings in the last 60 to 90 days. And these people are literally telling me on the phone, that's as low as I can go. And then I look at the history, see what they bought it for, and it's like, tough position that people are in. And those are opportunities where you might not be able to get them to budge, because who wants to lose money on the sale of their home, right? Especially if they've only lived there 2 years and they might be underwater or lose money. And in this type of area we live in, I'm telling these people, you should probably, wait a little bit. Maybe try to refinance, get your mortgage a little lower. I mean, this isn't the time to do it, but there might be opportunity in the future, because equity will come back as it's been lost in the last 2 to 3 years. But yeah, he's spot on with that one, because price discovery is still being discovered. Because what if your home doesn't sell for 350? Are you going to wait a year and then try to sell it for 350? Maybe you're desperate. Maybe you need to move a little quicker and you want to sell it for 299 and get out. You are seeing some do that, but then you are seeing the vice versa, where they're taking it off the market and they're saying, I'm waiting a couple of years, which might not be the case, but still lots of opportunity out there.
we've never been before. And guess what? It's at the highest interest rate we've ever seen on credit card debt. This is just Collin County. Allen, peak 665. As of November, 495. Frisco in the 780s is already down to the 640s. McKinney, 590, already lost 100,000. Plano, 585 is at 530, holding a little bit of strength there. And then we have, what is this?
Yeah, now, of course, we have to take these numbers with a grain of salt. We don't necessarily know what he's looking for, but I know prices were astronomical out here, Allen. This is Collin County. Prices shot up astronomical. I'm talking average price point in 2020, 2021 was like 470. It jumped up 150,000, 200,000, 40% in some areas. And that's kind of what I'm saying. These same areas right now in Plano, it says 530, but I promise you, there's so many homes at 420, 450, 475. Maybe they're not the most beautiful home, but they're not old homes. These homes are built before 1985 in an area where the schooling is some of the best in the country. You're still going to find examples where seller with, let's just give this, so 530, that seller, you're going to find out that he paid, I don't know, 387, 345 for the home. Still going to walk away with a decent chunk. Now, do I think prices are going to go a little bit lower? In some areas. Frisco, maybe not so much. Prosper, maybe not so much, just because of the style of homes they're building and the price point. Typically, these price points, the buyer isn't worried about rates. they're just like, I want to live and prosper with all these mansions in a beautiful area that is going to be really prosperous in the future from what they're building out there. So lots of opportunities out there, people. Lots of opportunities. I would not look at this as a negative. If anything, I would look at this as positive because it's like, at least we're not turning into LA, New York, Miami right now.
Prosper at 950, sitting at 860, going down, down, down. Go look in these markets. This is from a realtor. This is not from me. The inventory in all these markets is up, up, up. So where do you think the prices are going? Down, down, down. I don't even have to say it. It's being confirmed. This is as far as the eye can see in Dallas. New home tracks. Nobody even shows up for the open houses anymore. The salesperson is bored as hell. He had me doing TikToks with him because
I mean, you got to take this with a grain of salt. I did an open house 3 weeks ago. The door didn't stop closing. I did an open house this recent weekend. No one came. It is hit or miss. Depends on the area. Depends on the price point. So I would take this with a grain of salt. I mean, that's not really telling you the story.
Know what else to do with himself. And this is happening all over the state of Texas, not just in Dallas. Go see what's happening in Austin. The rents are crashing in multifamily because they've overbuilt too much new inventory. And guess what? When you got a whole building that has 100, 200, 300 vacancies, what do you do to fill them up? Because now it's built and now you got to make the payment. You offer specials and you reduce rent. And we're seeing it all over Texas. Down, down, down comes the rent. Down, down, down comes the prices.
Yeah, it can work like that, and typically it does. When you're starting to see rents go down, you're starting to see pricing go down. What I will say is where we live, DFW Metroplex, we are expected to surpass New York as far as apartments built. You already see the amount of infrastructure that they're adding in the area. You already know how many people are coming to this area. Fort Worth just surpassed Austin as fourth largest city in the state of Texas or something like that. So much infrastructure, so much population growth is headed towards this direction. I do not feel that it will affect our market as drastic. Of course, you have to take this with a grain of salt because if a meteor comes tomorrow, the whole state is, we hope it doesn't. I'm just saying anything is possible. What I would say is I think we are in a fantastic position, even commercial, even industrial commercial. A fantastic position in the DFW Metroplex. If you have questions, concerns, investor, feel free to shoot me, call, or text, okay?
Rescue me. We've got Mike Naylor joining us right now, the Century 20. We've got Mike Naylor joining us right now, the Century 21 real estate CEO. Mike's here to rescue me from Charlie. But Mike, let me ask you something. Not so much about Bitcoin, but real estate as an investment. It always competes with stocks about whether one is better than the other. How is it looking these days? I mean, from people who are saying this was going to be a problematic year for real estate, I see comebacks in some of the once hot markets that went cold. How do you assess things?
Thanks for having me back on. We did sell a home up in Rhode Island a couple years ago with Dogecoin, so it is a currency that's being used out there. But seriously, on the housing front, I think there's a couple good positive signs that are building momentum, right? I mean, first and foremost, this decade-long run-up in price appreciation, which we've seen certainly double-digit price appreciation over the last 4 years, is starting to settle in a little bit. I think we'll end the year anywhere from flat to 2 or 3% increase year over year.
Yeah, exactly. You really did have skyrocketing prices. We are back, okay? Back to normal. With more inventory, with more qualified buyers, with more information heading into 2025 as far as expected growth, especially on the commercial side where all the infrastructure comes. What happens when you get infrastructure? You get the rest.
But there is limited supply, right?
There is limited supply. I mean, we are at decade lows in units that we're selling here. That said, we are a 38% increase in inventory year over year. And you're right. I mean, I argue about this.
Yes, there is limited supply, but there also is more inventory than there has been on the market in years. So as a buyer, you have way more selections to choose from, which you can take this with a grain of salt. as far as good or bad. And most likely at the rate it's going, inventory will increase. And then if either people become more used to these rates, which that's kind of what happens eventually, people that were like, I wanted to wait till it got lower, they're like, you know what, I'm going to buy now and just try to work it out, buy my rate down, figure something out. They're buying homes.
That said, we are a 38% increase in inventory year over year. And you're right. I mean, I argue about this all the time, or argue for it. And I think, hopefully the new administration is going to clear some path for it. But we are needing more development in this country to keep up with the rapid generations who are coming into their main home buying years.
Which, if you're already in the DFW Metroplex, you are seeing how much they're building. I mean, they're building every which where. Okay. Now prices, are they affordable? It's going to be, it depends, right? It depends on what you think is affordable, what you think is worth the value, but they are building so many homes, it's not even funny.
I'm wondering if there's, going to be a problem with inflation next year. Even Donald Trump couldn't rule it out next year as a possibility with ignited growth and the rest. But that means market rates could go backing up a little bit. The Fed could pause on rate cuts a little bit, if not go the other way. I don't know how likely that is, but what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, I hope that the Fed stays true to what they were talking about, which is a couple small rate cuts over the next year. I mean, what people don't realize and what consumers should realize is when the Fed starts talking about it, it's already starting to get baked into the mortgage number. So if you are a home buyer, be prepared to act. Make sure you're talking to a great real estate agent who can help you through the process. It is not a quick process and it takes time. But, I think the rates are obviously the main driver. We're a very sensitive market to that. And honestly, to your point earlier, I think it's really more about the inventory. That said, Neil, you got to think about this, and this is another point back to the rates. Is probably 70% of existing homeowners right now have rates that are below 4%, and so they're not ready to move up or move out and create more inventory unless those rates move.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Real quick, are you optimistic that next year will be better?
I do think we're going to see an increase. I think we'll see an increase, a small increase in units and price, no matter who you talk to. Fannie, Freddie, Goldman, NAR, they're all thinking that we're going to be a couple percentage points up in price and a couple percentage points up in units. And hopefully we move, like I said, more to a normalized housing market.
Yeah.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And yeah, overall, I think you got to look at this and be optimistic, okay? You got to look at where we're at as far as the timing of the market. Prices are lower than they have been in years. There's more inventory and more selection for you to choose from than there has been in years. And the buyer pool is more qualified than they really ever have been. So there is a lot of opportunity, right? There's still opportunity out there. It's going to depend on the market you choose. You have to ask the right questions. Like we kind of saw in the beginning, get a lender that knows the area, knows what they're doing, has experience. Get an agent that's familiar with the area as well and has experience, and just ask a ton of questions, right? Go to open houses, see where you want to live, see what kind of home you want. So that way, when the time comes, you're ready, right? 2024 has come to an end, and I promise you at the beginning of this year, there are many people that I met that were thinking, oh, things are going to drop as far as rates, right? Rates are going to drop. They really have not dropped. I mean, they're the highest they've been in the last 5 months. We saw in that other video. So if you're waiting for rates to drop, that just might not be the most effective approach. I would first figure out what your goals are. Are you trying to get into the home without paying? Are you trying to get into a home with a lower purchase price? Are you trying to get into a home paying $2,400 or $2,300 a month? Like, figure out the numbers. This will then help you ask the right questions to your lender, said agent, and then help you in the negotiation when it comes to being under contract. There's a lot of opportunity out there. Yeah, if you made it this far, I really appreciate you watching. This is Moving to Texas. My name's Trevon. I work with Century 21 Mike Bowman. And like I said at the beginning, if you have questions, feel free to check the description and give me a call or shoot me a text. And I'd love to help you out in the process of owning or selling or whatever your real estate needs are. But again, if you made it this far, I truly appreciate you watching. This was a longer video. I had to end the year with as much information as I could possibly fit on a video and wanted to edit. So thanks again if you made it this far. Let me know your thoughts in the comments of what you think and what you expect for the future. And yeah, Happy New Year, people. I will catch you guys on the next episode of Moving to Texas. All right, later.